Hey, how you guys doing? Today we're going to hit on a topic that's pretty disturbing. Um, you know, fracking is a problem by itself, but I don't think you all know what what goes into the whole fracking thing. Years ago, the waste that would come out of fracking, and we're going to get into some of those pictures in a few minutes, slides. Uh, that pretty much was considered radioactive waste, and I'll tell you why it's radioactive waste. And then for some reason, they had to find special places to dump it. It was hard, it cost money. But then some brilliant politicians in Ohio changed the definition to naturally occurring materials. Okay, radiation is naturally occurring in the ground, but when you bring it up, it's not naturally occurring. But that's what they called it. And because of that, they opened up a bunch of many dumps. And before you know it, the entire world is dumping their fracking waste in our dumps in Ohio. Now, that's problem number one. Problem number two is the water they use. And now, what they're doing with it, while we're watching the news and the Academy Awards and all that good stuff, they passed a new law that they call the stuff brine, and they dump it on our streets for de-icing, for de-dusting. It's unbelievable, folks. You don't even know it. So I'm going to try to educate you here with some facts that might be very disturbing. Okay, so we'll just go to our little slideshow here. And first of all, this is just the fact sheet. You can get all this stuff on the internet. And basically what they do, and we'll get into some really crazy stuff here momentarily, but it's basically hydraulic fracking. What they do is they fracture the ground and they want to get the natural gas out. Okay, what they do is use high pressure injections, and they use those secret chemicals. Okay, now the big problem here is that first of all, that there's like thousands, probably 4,000 to 5,000, 6,000 fracking wells. Okay, and there's more and more and more of these things, and they do require 2 to 5 million gallons of water. Think about this for a single frac, and they may frack a well several times. So they're using up our water too. Okay, 2 to 5 million gallons per frac. Now think about that. How much water? Now the water, 15 to 35% of that water never stays in the ground. Okay, and the rest of it comes up. Guess what? That water is contaminated. Okay, and we're going to talk about with what. And not only that, the water that they put into the ground, the 35%, is also contaminated. Okay, and it's causing serious problems. Just so you see here how this works, you can see here where these trucks come in here. These are all water trucks, and they fill it up with water, and they dump it in along with their chemicals. Okay, they got all these chemicals, and then what they do is they use high pressure and break up the ground. And then what happens is when they break up the ground, that's where the gas comes in. But also the water becomes waste. Now, where do you think this waste is going? Okay, they're dumping it in our dumps, but now they're going to be dumping it in our streets. Okay, you can see how nasty this water looks. And they won't tell us what's in these gallons, these 55-gallon drums. They won't tell us what's in there because it's a top secret. Okay, and so basically, they're basically polluting the ground. They're polluting the fracking sites. You can see these sites are all polluted, and a lot of times also when they pollute the sites, they're working there. When it rains, what do you think happens? Water runs off, and it erodes, causes erosion, and then it gets into the soil, and it gets into the vegetation and into our aquifers and into our rivers and lakes. And here you can see how this water's running off and going into the blue, slimy little lake, pond, whatever you want to call it. Okay. And so basically these frackers, the guys that run the companies, they provide jobs for these people. You can see all these people all worshiping the guy that pays them the money. Okay, but these people that are fracking are getting exposed. They're getting exposed to radiation. And I'm going to explain to you right now why it's radioactive. And they don't even monitor this. They don't even test it for the radiation. Okay, this is another diagram where they break it up. Now, here's another thing they cause. People say, hey, they frack and they cause earthquakes. You know what? If you guys shut off the weather on your mainstream and did your own weather, there's like 20 channels that are way better than your mainstream. You'd be surprised. You can learn how to predict your own weather and go 20, 30 days in advance. Okay, you'll find out that with these fracking sites always have small tremors and they cause seismic activity. If there's faults, they create earthquakes, okay? Think about that. If you're fracking and you're breaking up the ground, okay, and there's a fault right here, you're going to create a small earthquake. What happens when you create an earthquake? You break up the ground. When you break up the ground, what? Then you contaminate the aquifer. You contaminate the streams, okay? So these frackers are causing earthquakes, okay? So maybe small ones, maybe big ones. Who knows? I mean, you know, they're just doing more. Plus, not only that, if you go to the Null School map, you'll see that a lot of these huge fracking sites, there's a ton of CO, carbon monoxide, and a ton of CO2 that's above them. So they are completely contaminating the air as well. So it is a problem, okay? Now, they do use all kind of chemicals, and now this isn't really about the chemicals. Chemicals are bad. Like you can see here, you know, you see here benzene, toluene, methanol, formaldehyde, sodium hydrochloric acid. I mean, this is just a small list. There's like 600 chemicals they use, and it causes all these sicknesses. Think about the guys working there. Skin and eye irritation. Okay, look at that. All these chemicals that they put into fracking cause skin, respiratory. Okay, then they destroy your liver, brain cancer. They screw up your immune system. Then they screw up your blood and all kind of just bad stuff. So the workers are being exposed. They're also, you know, if they're bringing up the water, which is radioactive, and I'll show you here in a second. Here's just a picture of somebody that's got a worker that had poor blood circulation. You can see with the thermal imager. Same thing here. Okay, you know, another problem is these frackers have accidents all the time, and then they just dump it, and they don't realize that, you know, after months and months of working somewhere, this water's going to go into a stream. Well, here's an Ohio river with dead fish. I mean, they're killing our fish, you know, and they stock the fish, and you know, we probably pay for all that, and then they kill them and a lot of these fish probably have leukemia, okay? They probably have leukemia from the radiation, okay? So not just the formaldehyde and the acids and the boric acids and fracking and chemicals, it's got radiation. Now, when they dig down into the, drill into the ground, what happens is they got to go really far down into bedrock. Well, what's in bedrock? Uranium. What's in uranium? Uranium has a half-life of like 4 billion years, okay? They bring some of that up, but they also bring up radium, okay? And radium is a byproduct of uranium, which is 20,000 years. In other words, every 20,000 years it becomes less radioactive. So you'd have to live here 9 half-lives for it to go down to 0. So you'd have to live here almost 200,000 years to get rid of this radiation. That's how long it would take. Now, there's another problem. Now, the byproduct of uranium is radon gas. So now the water has radon gas in it with a half-life of 3.8 days. Okay, so not only that, the water is radioactive. Okay, and it gets, by the way, I'm showing you a picture here of deer. And all of a sudden now all the deer in Ohio are starting to get sick. They got all kind of problems with the deer, and the hunters are getting worried. Do we want to eat the deer? That's a problem because we have a lot of deer. Another problem is people walk their dogs and they walk on the site. And what they're going to do with this fracking brine is now they're dumping it on our streets when it snows. So you can count how many times it snows. You see the trucks just waiting on the bridges for the snowstorm. They're full of radioactive brine with radium, radon, okay, maybe uranium, but probably radon and radium. And that stuff washes off. Now, I'm just going to show you a couple. By the way, we have 200 million dogs. Okay, think about this. The dogs, you walk the dogs every morning. They pick this stuff up and they go on. Now it's in your carpet. Uranium doesn't go away. Okay, the radon goes away. It's in the water. And by the way, radon is a second leading cause of lung cancer. Second leading cause of lung cancer in America. All right. So, we got a real problem here. Now, Ohio, the dumps are full of it. And all the people that have wells near them. I'm going to show you a little this is just a map where there's a lot of homes in America with high radon. But this is the radon that actually, that comes out of the ground naturally. Think about it. You're going down to the bedrock and bringing it up. So this whole area, if they made a new map, which they probably won't make because they don't want you to see that map, it would be skyrocket numbers. Wherever they're fracking, it's all radioactive. This is just a radon machine, and we know Simpson used to work at a radon. You know how crazy that guy is, right? And by the way, there's radon testing. You probably want to test your home for radon just to make sure you can get your own kits, and it'll let you know if you're above the action levels, which are 4 picocures per liter. Now I got a little diagram here. I'm going to show you. You know, this is a Geiger counter, okay, and right now it's measuring 42 CPMs on average. It measures around 30. It's not 0, so it's picking up 36 counts of radiation per minute. Okay, it's a little handheld apparatus. Okay, and you could take this. It's kind of expensive. You could take this, to your backyard and check and see if you've got radiation runoff. Now, I'm going to give an example of some radiation here. I don't know if you guys. I'm going to switch the camera here. Okay, I'm going to switch it to the book recorder. Okay, so now we're going to move on here. Now this is just glass. It's it's called uranium glass, and if you look at this glass, okay, it's radioactive with uranium, okay, and you'll see how the counts are going up. Now, I don't have fracking de-icer here, okay, but if I had some, it's all going to be different depending on where it goes. So you don't even, it's like a witch's brew. You don't even know which one's got more radiation, which one's got less, because you don't know where the fracking stuff is coming from. I mean, they used to have to pay to dump it. Now, check this one out. So here's one. Here's another one. Okay. Okay, now this one here, people buy these things. Some people actually use these things at home and drink out of glasses that are radioactive. Look at this puppy, man. This thing is like a chest X-ray. All right. So think about this. So they're dumping this radioactive particles on our streets. They're running off. They're getting into our streams. Okay. And guess what? They're also, look at it, 1,200. This puppy's cooking. All right. It'll keep going. So here we got our shoes, right? We walk in, we're walking the dog, and we're picking it up on the bottoms of our shoes, And if I put the shoe on top of my radioactive isotope, it's going to go right through it. So, just because you're walking in shoes doesn't mean you're not picking anything up. Okay, radiation, the betas and the alphas pretty much won't go through your shoe. But, if it was uranium, it would. So these particles get on the bottom of your shoes right here. And guess what? You walk in your house and you put it on the carpet, and then your little kid walks by and he picks it up, and you kick it up because the first foot of the carpet space is when you walk by, you kick up dust, and the first foot is where all the carpet dust goes. That's where kids walk in. Your kid that's on his knees, because his breathing zone is 1 foot. Ours is like 3 and 4 feet. That's why all these kids got asthma, because we got all these particles in our carpets, and we kick it up. We bring it home, and it's bad enough that we got dust mite fecal pellets and dander from pets and all that. Now we're going to make it radioactive? Really? And radiation causes all kind of problems and makes you sick. We're going to go back to the slideshow here. And, okay, so you want to think about this. Now, remember the old days, I don't have one of those here, but remember those alarm clocks that glowed in the dark? You know what? That was radioactive. And all these girls that put those on are all gone, okay? And there was, there's articles about this stuff. And they were doing this, in the 50s, 60s, So basically, these fracking chemicals have arsenic, mercury, diesel, methanol. We talked a lot about that. And then what they do is they use regular water, which costs you and me money, not money, but they're stealing our water, our precious water, clean water, and they contaminate it millions of gallons per frac. Think about how many billions of gallons that is. And then it goes down into the ground, and then they bring up radiation. Naturally, they call it naturally occurring radiation in Ohio. And the reason they did that was so the Ohio dumps could make money, and all the good old boys club can dump their stuff. And now what's happening is the water that they've been dumping into these areas are now contaminating the ground, wells, and all the people are getting sick and they're complaining. So now they're like, oh, what are we going to do with all that water, that radioactive water? Hey, I got an idea. Let's pass a law in Ohio, change it to the word naturally occurring, and we'll sell it to the cities, and they will de-ice our roads. And then it's called dilution to pollution is the solution. It's not, folks, because the fish are dying, okay? The bugs are dying. The bugs are already, we don't even hardly have any bugs left. And if you think that you could, clean your water and take radiation out of it, no. Just like the medicated water, we're all on medication. They can't take that out of the water either. So now, here's this truck. You're driving down the freeway, and they're spraying away, man. And they're spraying the de-icing radioactive brine. And you're driving, it's getting out of your car, right? And it's getting into your air system. It's becoming aerosolized. Now you're breathing it, okay? Here we go. Stay back 500 feet. Gee, I wonder why they want you to stay back 500 feet, so you don't get the drift. You get the drift. You inhale this stuff. You inhale alphas and betas. They're going to destroy you and make you sick, give you cancer. Okay, they are going to make people sick as hell. We're already sick already from what they do to us. Now they're going to radioactive our roads, make them all radioactive. You remember this? Remember this back in the days? I was a kid. I remember this. DDT sprays every night, man. 7 o'clock, the DDT truck came down the street spraying this stuff to kill the mosquitoes. And guess what? We'd hold our nose and we'd run through it. We'd laugh and we'd breathe. And, then we'd feel sick for about half an hour after that. And we would do it again because nobody said it was bad. Well, guess what? By driving behind a truck that's spraying this shit, it's no difference than running behind a DDT truck, folks. They're poisoning everybody on the roads. Everybody driving down the freeways is getting poisoned. Then that water's poisoning your water. Okay, so then it rains, right? It dries up, and then the rain picks it up, and then it goes, guess what? Into the ground, okay? And then it goes into the water. Here you can see all this de-icing here. Oh, it's going to go into these little holes, and they're going to go into the water where the fishies live. They're going to kill the fishies, the crayfish. They're going to kill the fauna. Then the fish aren't going to have anything to eat, and they're going to die. They're going to end up getting leukemia. That's right. They don't test fish for leukemia. They get leukemia too, all right? Now, here's a house, this de-icing that you could buy. This stuff is bad already. And this stuff is all chemicals. And when you leave it in a bag and you got a hole, it leaks. And I go to these homes, they're like, what's this water stuff? I can't wash it off. I go, man, it's a de-icing bag. It had a leak in it. Okay, I think I had a picture there. So, this stuff is a real problem. We have a bunch of government idiots that regulated it and made it okay, and all they're doing is they're killing our kids, man. They're making us sick, okay? So I think that we need to, there should be some recommendations for this. I think, number one, somebody's got to stop this, and I know most of the people aren't even going to watch this video. You guys are watching, Academy Awards, that real important stuff. You're watching your mainstream, and mainstream is just a narrative, agenda-driven, brainwashing machine, man. Even all the commercials, they're all designed to take you away from the real truth, the reality of what's going on. They're dumping radiation on your front yard, and you're letting them do it, okay? I think this is a serious problem, and people need to stop this, or at least people need to get involved. Here's some pictures of one that leaked, completely contaminated a whole property. You can see the fish are dying in the lake. The water, these people's well, they can't even drink water anymore. And they don't put that in the news, man. You don't hear about the people that are getting sick in their homes from their wells. And by the way, when you got radiation in your body, it goes in your bone, man. It stays there and it keeps irradiating over and over and over, and you can't figure out what's going on. And it does all kind of stuff. It kills your immune system. It makes you sick. It causes diabetes. It can cause all this stuff. And so you got these secret bags, and they dump these bags in our dumps in Ohio, and it's getting into our water. And then here's your water. Hey, the water's contaminated with chemicals and radiation. Up, look at the ducks. The ducks. Now the duck season comes on, and hunters shoot the ducks and they eat it. And they go home. They're thinking they're eating good food. Wild game. That's radioactive. That's right. You don't know where that duck was at? Man, I don't know if I'd be a hunter anymore, because you know what? The hunters don't know. They don't know. They think it's a beautiful world. They got their guns. They got their bullets. Hey, it's a sport. I got it. But they don't know where that duck was at. That duck could have been in a radioactive pond. Could have been eating radioactive mosquitoes. Same with the bats. It's amazing. It's totally amazing. And then you got these dumps. Now, this is great. These dumps, there's hydrostatic pressure. And then when it rains, the dumps leach out. Look at this. Leaking out the radiation and the contamination goo onto the sidewalks that your car drives on and you walk your dog on. Have you ever been to Transportation Boulevard in Garfield Heights, Ohio? Go there on a rainstorm. Go to the back lot in front of Finest, and you'll see the gush coming out of the ground. And you see it bubbling. Now, that's all methane, and I don't know if there's radiation there, because that was before this fracking stuff, but still, the dumps are a problem, okay? And the ducks fly, and they move it, and we eat the ducks. Now, it gets in our food. It gets in our produce. It gets in our livestock, in the cows. It gets into our corn. Okay, and here are the cows. The thing about this, you get runoff from the streets. The cows get it. It gets on there. It gets in the water. They drink. They bathe in it. They eat it. Now they produce milk, right? And then all of a sudden the milk, gets turned into cheese and ice cream. And you're eating ice cream. Yeah, ice cream. Radioactive ice cream. That's right. Radioactive ice cream is what we're going to be eating in Ohio. Okay, and our corn's going to be deformed. And we don't know what the heck's going on. And then we're going to put on our shoes, and we're going to walk around, and we're going to bring this stuff into our house, into the cars. You know what? These morons in Ohio, these government morons. You guys are morons. You know that? You're morons, all of you, for passing this stupid law that's going to make everybody sick in Ohio. You are sick people. You are sick people. Now we got gardens. We got all these people doing urban gardening, and all that shit's running off. It's running off. Look at this stuff. This is what runs off the ground and gets into our gardens. Folks, pretty soon you're going to have to buy a mask and a Tyvek, and you're going to have to walk around. You're going to have a Geiger counter. We're back to 38. But you know what? It's going to climb. You're going to need one of these in your house real soon, because your carpet's going to be hot. That's right. And before you know it, you're going to be hot. Sorry, I got a little excited today. So, hey, thanks for coming on. Please rate and subscribe. This will end this segment.